but I'm sure she would join. I'm sure she would join um, shortly. Is to say that we're going to have speaking to us today, Omobolanle Banwo, right? I'm sure some of you know her, if not all of you, right? She's an amazing designer. She's one who is doing um, so much in the design industry in terms of design education, advocating for design education and all that, and majorly driven by impacting the feminine gender, right? The design space is one that has been um, largely dominated by the male folks, right? And women are beginning to have a voice, and she's one who is making. She's one of the people who is making it possible for many women um, to learn design and move into the space. She's a brand expert and also a teacher. Um, while I try and reach out to her, please give me a minute. I will join you shortly.
Hello. Apologies for the delay. I've been able to reach our guest speaker. She's been having difficulties joining in, but she will join in shortly. She's been having difficulties joining in. If you can hear me, just let me know. Just let me know if you can hear me. Okay, all right. We have our guest speaker here. Okay, you can hear me. All right. So first of all, I want to thank everyone for joining today's session. This is the second webinar we'll be having under the initiative of Designers Discourse, right? Welcome Bolanle Banwo to this session. It's a pleasure to have you here. Very soon you would have the floor. But before you have the floor, I would want to officially welcome everyone to this session. Designers Discourse is an initiative of Wonder Brand Design Agency, like I said earlier. The purpose of Designers Discourse is to create a forum or an avenue where designers can have intellectual conversations regarding design, in terms of from practice of design to business of design to let me let you people see my face. I hope I'm visible. Right. So from the practice of design to the business of design to career in design and all that. Right. So that's the purpose of the initiative. I don't know if you can see me, but let me continue. Yeah. So this is the second edition. The last webinar took place last month, and we had Caesar Graphics come speak to us on negative space in design, in visual design, right? And it was an impactful session. Quite a number of people said they learned a lot from it. And I know today's session will be an amazing one, right? Many people have been looking up to hear Bolanle speak, and we have the honor and the privilege of having Bolanle come to speak to us today. First of all, I want to thank Bolanle for agreeing to do this. I know you're a very busy person, but creating time out of a busy schedule to touch lives, impact lives, as you've been doing, is no mean feat, right? And I want to say a very big thank you to you, Bolanle. So I'm officially welcoming everyone to Designers Discourse webinar. Today, Bolanle will be speaking to us on brand design, and she's an expert. She needs no further introduction. Anyone who doesn't know Bolanle, I don't want to spend time reading her bio, but Bolanle is an amazing designer. She's one who has a lot of accolades. Her work speak for her. She's an influencer in the design space. She's one who has made massive impact in the design industry. Having her come speak to us is a privilege. This session is a session that should obviously be paid for, but having her speak to us and share knowledge that we probably should be paying for almost at no cost, maybe at the cost of your data. We sincerely appreciate Bolanle for that. We seriously appreciate Bolanle for that. Like I said, I'm trying to put up our profile, but while that is coming on, she's an someone is asking if they can have your social media handles. You would have it in the course of the session. Definitely, you will definitely have it in the course of the session. Just bear with us. She would communicate that in the course of the session. So, Bolanle, I know that you have just a limited time to speak to us. So I would want you to go right into the session, and in the course of the session, we would have time for question and answers. Once that is done, we probably will call it a wrap. But Bolanle, if you're ready, please, you have the floor. If you have any slide to present, feel free to share your screen. I would just let me see who is muted there. Person. Okay, so Bolanle, if you're ready, just let me know. Let me stop presenting, and you can present if you have your slides. Thank you very much.
Excuse me, ma, you are muted.
Bolanle, we hear that you are muted. Can you unmute yourself, please? Can you unmute yourself, Bolanle?
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes, it's better now.
I think it should be
So,
better now.
guys, Bolanle, before you continue,
Okay.
guys,
Beautiful.
so that you don't, Bolanle, will you be presenting?
I have a slide.
Okay.
But I don't know. I'm using my phone to shoot this video.
Okay.
I'm using my phone right now. So if I change to my laptop, I don't know. I just got into the house and I don't want to start sorting that out. So I'll just read from my slides. I'll just read from my slides.
No problem. So guys, you can pin Bolanle's thumbnail. Just tap on Bolanle's thumbnail and pin it so that you don't lose track of that. Thank you very much. You have the floor, please.
Thank you so much, Ife. I'll try to do this as quick as possible. But I want you guys to totally just enjoy the experience. So we talk about design, brand design, UI, UX, all sort of designs and stuff like that. But I've learned how to approach design from a perspective that is more interesting, something that is more about lifestyle, more about how people feel. And that is why I'm very passionate about brand design. So let me talk a bit about myself. I started out as a comic designer. So my first job was as a comic designer. I used to draw comic illustrations, comics, and all those kind of interesting stuff. And then I started losing interest, and then I started to go into graphic design. So I got into graphic design, and I realized that I would go into the supermarket, and I would see different types of products. I'll see something, and I'll be like, I like how it is designed. I like how people actually interact with this product. How can I be that kind of designer? And that is how I branched into brand design. And so I'm currently a brand designer, but I also do UI UX just on the side. But I'll say that I'm more passionate about brand design, and I'm sure you're going to see why. So because the time is very short, I want to just talk to you about brand design, especially if you don't know so much about brand design. I want you to, try to understand what brand design is. So every time we think about brand design, the first thing that comes to your mind is logo design. Oh, is the logo this? Logo colors, brand guide, all those nice things. But the truth about it is branding in itself goes way beyond the logo, the colors, the typography, and all those things that you've been seeing on brands. Now, it goes way beyond that. Now, a brand in itself, what is a brand? So a brand is not even what you have designed. A brand is how people feel about an organization, a company. So your work as a designer is to give a face to the faceless, basically. It's to give a face to something that has no face. So someone comes to you and says, oh, I have this idea. I want to bring life into this idea. And then as a designer, you're the superhero, and you're like, oh my God, I'm the creator. I'm going to give face to an entity that has no face, basically. So you take a brand, you take a name that has nothing, and you give it colors, and you give it a logo, and you give it meaning. Now, after creating everything that you have created, guess what? That is not the brand. That is just the design aspect. Now, how people feel about that organization, we're talking about a combination of the organization itself and the logo and the colors and the visuals, everything. How people feel about that brand is their brand. is their brand identity, basically. So a brand itself, brand goes way beyond just the logo, the typography. It goes, there's some definition I really, really like that I have here in my slides, and then I'm going to be reading some out for you so that you really understand it. So it says that a brand is a way a company, an organization, or an individual is perceived by those who experience it. So now I'm coming to you today, and my hair is all scattered, and I'm just there, and I'm just looking. Now, immediately, as a person, I have my identity. I have my personal brand. I'm a brand, right? Just as you can be a brand as well. But then, whatever you're thinking of me right now is actually my brand. So I can't just say, oh, this is me, this is Bolanle Banwo, this is what I do. So the question is, what do you think about my work? What do you think about my organization? What do you think about my design school? What is your perception of me? Now, branding itself is about influencing how people think. So that is why when I go into the supermarket, I see Nivea and I see how beautiful it looks. And I'm like, okay, I actually want to buy this brand. Why? Because let's say, for instance, I have never seen this product before. I have never seen this Pearl Beauty, which I actually do like. I've never seen this before. But I see the Nivea on it. Guess what, guys? I'm going to buy this. Why? Because I've seen their logo. And the logo is just a round circle, blue, with the white text. But guess what? Every time I see the Nivea logo on any product, even if it's a new product, how does it make me feel? It makes me feel safe. It makes me feel like if I use this product, I can hold them accountable. Nothing is going to happen to my body. I'm not going to have one itch rash or something. Now, it is a different feeling to when you enter Danfo, and then there's this guy that brings out his bag, and he's selling this very tiny product. And that product, and they're telling you that product is going to solve all your problems. It's going to solve cancer. It's going to solve acne. It's going to every single thing. The question is, that product in itself has no brand. It is somewhat brand. It has a name. It has a logo. But then the brand is not reputable enough to earn your trust. Now, a brand, good brand identity or trusting a brand is built over time. Trust is built over time. And that is why you will see a brand like Nike. They will sell, look at this black t-shirt I'm wearing. I mean, it is brandless. Let's say I bought this, 2K, or I bought this 3,000, or I bought this any amount. So imagine if I have the Nike logo. This thing can cost as high as, let's say, 15,000, 20,000, 30,000. So the question is, what is the difference? So even if it is the same material, the logo is important because apart from just building a logo for a company, the company itself has built something called trust, called competency, or creates a very nice synergy. That creates let's just say in as a whole, basically. So it creates a very, very good identity as a whole, basically. So we're talking about a company creating a good identity, doing what is right, and we're also talking about a brand designer creating a very nice logo. So I'm sure your question is, okay, so if branding is way beyond the logo, way beyond everything, way beyond how the product looks, and is more about people's perception, then why is branding important? So, the way guys always say that, I like that girl, right? And the question is, how do you know you like that girl? Because of what you've seen. And so you see that girl, you like her, right? Because of the way she's dressed, because of how fine she looks, and then you walk up to her, right? And then let's say she's a nice person. Let's say she's decent and she's nice and she's well spoken. You're like, okay, can we go on a date, right? Now, what has happened? Let's say the girl is the logo, basically. So the logo has drawn the buyer to the product. Now, what keeps the buyer coming back is how competent or how good that brand is. So as a logo designer, you've done your part, right, by creating something that merges or that depicts the brand in the best light, right? And then you've created it for them. You've created the perfect, nice brand design. The packaging design is nice, and people have decided to try out the product. The guy has decided to approach the lady. So the question is, what happens next? So that's what I always tell my clients, that when I create a product for you, when I create a brand identity for you, or I do a packaging design for you, the best I can do for you is create something that is very nice that people want to see and touch and take to their houses and everything. But if you have a bad product, there is no amount of branding that can help you. So I can bring people to you, right? I can bring people to you, and then, okay, someone is laughing at my example. Maybe I should actually finish that example so that you can actually understand it. So the guy walks up to the girl, and the girl is like really, really nice, and then he's like, okay, you know what? I want to go on a date with you because he likes the experience. He has experienced something. There's something different about this girl. And then, you know what? So they go out on a date. But let's say he walks up to the girl and he's trying to talk to her, and she's like really, really rude. And then the experience is so bad. So what happens? He walks away. He walks away. So what happens is the identity as a person, identity as a person has drawn you closer to the person, but then the experience is chasing you away. So brand identity in itself, brand identity in itself is actually way, way, way deep. Let's look at other definitions of brand identity so that we can truly understand it. It's actually very interesting. So I wrote something here. I said that the meaning of a brand goes beyond just a name. It goes beyond just a design and just a logo. And I also said that a brand is the recognizable feeling a product or a business evokes. So the question is, the next thing you want to ask yourself as a designer is, every time people work with you, every time people work with your brand, how do they feel? Would they want to come back to you? What is their perception of you? Because whatever they are thinking of you is actually your brand. So there's a very brilliant definition here by Martin Nimera. That man is amazing. Is a very amazing person. So
Hello, guys. Please, apologies. I'm sure it probably will be network issues, but she will join back. I hope that you are learning from the session. She's started with talking about. If you can hear me, please let me know. If you can hear me, please let me know in the chat section. If you can hear me, please let me know. Okay, all right. Okay, you can hear me. Okay, you can hear me. That's good. Yeah, so as she was saying, brand design is much more than the logo. Obviously, we know what a brand is, right? Is people's perception about you. And so it's people's perception about you. Who is this one that let me see if I can get this guy off here. Sorry, please give me a moment. Who is this person? What's this? And I'm trying to get. I can't even see who the person is. Is that Mr. Nnamdi? Let me see. Who is the person? Oh, I'm trying to look for the person. What's his name? Nnamdi. I can't see any Nnamdi on my.
Yeah, that should be Nnamdi.
Sir, that is Nnamdi. That is Nnamdi.
Nnamdi what? I can't see any Nnamdi there.
So just over on the camera on the screen, like his own camera, just over on it. You can remove it from there.
Okay. I'm even trying to find the name. I can't even find the name. What's his name?
Nnamdi double N.
Nnamdi Bajekwe. His name is Nnamdi Mbajekwe. This other dude that said has been changing his money.
Oh, good. He just turned it up.
Sorry, give me a second. I'm sure Bolanle is trying to. I don't know. We just lost her in the course of the session. I'm sure she's trying to join back. Let me see. So I've just removed that Nnamdi from the listing. So while I wait for Bolanle to join in, so she was talking about brand design, right? And it's more than just design of logo, right? It's more than design of product, right? And she captured it appropriately, right? Branding. I know there was a time I had a session where I spoke on bias, right? Meaning branding is a scam, right? And that fine, branding is good if only you use it well, right? But if you have a bad product, you have bad customer services or poor customer service, people have issues with your product, no amount of branding can save that product, right? So it's much, much important that it's much more important that people understand the value that branding brings to the table and not just solely rely on it, thinking that branding will save their blushes and all that. Let me try and reach Bolanle Banwo and see what the issue is. Please give me a second. Thank you.
I think she's back.
Hello? Is it fine now? If I can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes,
I'm
we
so
can hear
sorry
you.
about that. I'm so sorry about that. So I just got home, so I just have to like quickly join the meeting, and I'm in the middle of a lot of things right now. That's all. So my phone died actually. Okay, so you can hear me now, right? Okay. So where did I stop? I want to be sure you guys actually.
Welcome
I want
back.
to be sure you guys actually. Huh? Huh?
I said welcome back. Welcome back.
So where did I stop? So where did I stop? I need to be sure that you actually listen. I need to be sure that you actually listen to me.
Guys, where did she stop? Oh yeah.
Beautiful. So someone said trusting a brand, right? Trusting a brand, right? Yeah, trusting a brand. Yeah, so, trusting a brand. So I can hear myself. I can hear myself. There's just echo. There's just echo. Okay. So let's so definition I really like by I was trying to define this. I was trying to read this definition out. So it says that Martin Numero, yeah. So Martin Numero says that a brand is a person's gut feeling about a product, a service, or an organization. So that is why we need to, when you're building a brand. So now I'm talking to two different people here. As a designer, you're a brand.
as a designer, you're also, let's say you're a brand designer, you're also designing a brand for somebody. So I'll try to touch on both aspects to see how I can actually cover a lot, because it's actually a lot. And the slide, I'm actually reading from the slide I prepared for my students, because I have a branding course that covers how to charge your clients, how to create a logo, how to create a logo in Illustrator, how to negotiate. My branding course actually covers a lot of things, but I'll try to touch on some of the very important things there. So it says that a brand is a person's gut feeling about the product, a service, or an organization. So it means that a brand is the most valuable asset a business can ever own. I want us to remember the story of Indomie, when there was this rumor that Indomie was killing people, and that would have actually destroyed the brand totally. But then, in order for them to quickly get people to trust them again, they had to start this campaign where they were making people eat Indomie on the road. They'll go make market women to eat Indomie and say Indomie is not killing us, so Indomie is safe and things like that. Because once people stop trusting you, it is a problem. People can pay any amount if they trust you. They don't even need to know you for so long. But if they trust you, if they've seen that you have a track record of always delivering, they will definitely trust you. And that is why it's important as a brand, as a designer, building a brand, to always, build trust, build loyalty. These are the kind of things that would, speak for you in the future and get people to actually trust you. So let's move faster, guys. So I said here that brand, so we've defined a brand, right, as gut feeling, right? So we know what is brand identity and so what is brand identity? So it says here that brand identity is a collection of all the elements that a company creates to portray the right image and to its customers and stuff like that. Yeah. So another definition says that, okay, so now as a brand identity designer, your job is to create visual elements that portray a company in the best light. We're talking about colors, we're talking about the logo design, the color, the typography, and all the visual characteristics of the brand. So now I'm going to be going off my slides and let's just talk. So someone is asking that which software would you advise to use when branding? I would say Photoshop, Illustrator. So in my branding course, for instance, I spoke about how you can actually use grids in Illustrator to create logos. After creating the logos, then you can now bring it into Photoshop and then present it. Now, there are a lot of things that people don't understand about branding. Now, when you're creating a logo for a client, I always define creating a logo for a client as, or creating a brand identity for a client as, creating the future. Creating a future that they cannot see and helping them see that future. So what does that mean? When I'm designing for my clients, there's something I call the logo presentation document. And I also spoke about this in my course. Now, this logo presentation document is usually about 10 pages. What does it mean? It means that, let's say that, for instance, you'll be charging 5K, 10K for logos, and you want to really charge higher for your logos. The question is, if you want to charge higher, you have to give more value. How do you give more value? It's very simple. By thinking about the brand, thinking about all the things they will possibly need, and not just sending them their logo via WhatsApp in JPEG version or PNG. Now, when you do that, you are simply reducing the value they are creating. So what does that mean? What does it mean? Let's say you have this dream to charge about 2.5 million for a logo, which is not a bad amount. And you tell the client they don't charge 2.5 million. Think about 2.5 million. How would you present such a logo? Would you present it as a JPEG, and then with your watermark on it, crossed like this, and you send it via WhatsApp, and then you just send it to the clients? And the question is, how much do you expect them to pay? Now, if you were the client, how much would you pay for your own logo based on how you've been presenting it? So there's something called the presentation style. So you need to know how to present your logo. The first thing first is you create the first slide. You create images. There's something that you create images. So there's something called a stylescape, something like that. Please don't use that a lot. And then you bring in images together, colors, to introduce the client to their brand. You're saying welcome. It's like an experience. You give them an experience that they'll never forget in their lives, basically. And they'll just tell you, take all my money. And so you present the first slide with, let's say, images like a collage of very nice things, images of the brand target audience. Let's say that target audience is, let's say, young adults. So you can go to Pinterest, you can go to Pexels, or you can go to Splash, look for nice images, put them together, put colors together. That is even before you even present the logo. Then after doing that, the next slide can be a mock-up of maybe a mock-up of like a stationary mock-up with the logo. So the client is looking, wow, this looks beautiful. Okay, is that the logo on it? Wow, this is amazing. Because the moment you can capture the art of your client, you can get their attention, you can win them over at the first 3 slides. That way, you can get them to pay. Because they are intrigued already, they are happy, they can see all the hard work you're doing, you know? So the next thing you want to do is, after creating the mock-ups and everything, then you want to present each of the logos. Now there's something I describe as supporting your logo. Never leave your logo hanging. Never leave your logo alone. Don't just put the logo on the white page, and then you are done. Now you want to probably, superimpose the logo on a particular image with a very nice background. You want to create that kind of feel and experience while they are scrolling through the pages. You want them to enjoy the experience. So instead of just putting it on white at first, you can actually just put maybe like one of the brand colors that you've already chosen and just put the logo on it. Just basically just put your best foot forward. Present the logo like it's the only thing you're thinking about. I'm not boasting, but throughout last year, all the brands I worked for, all the all the logos I designed, none of them were rejected. And that's because I've failed in the past in designing. I have done designs that I did when I started designing, I used to do like 50, I used to do I think I once did like 20 samples. But never again. That was in the past. I've been designing for over 10 years. I'm not doing that anymore. Right now, I just do 3 different logos. And I'm very, very sure that those 3 logos I'm giving them, they will definitely find one that they need. Because I'm not just presenting the logo, I'm presenting a whole lot to them. I'm showing them the possibilities they can actually achieve with that logo. Now, I spoke about selling the future of the logo to your clients. Let me give you an instance. Now, there was this lawyer I designed for. Now, the lawyer runs a scholarship program where he gets first-class graduates from different universities in Nigeria, and he gives them scholarship. Now, this is someone who finished from Harvard, and he wanted me to build a brand for him. The first thing I needed to do was to do my research. Now, when it comes to brand research, that one is a different topic entirely. I spoke about that in my brand design course. If you want to know about my course, you can just go to my page. You can just ask if it will show you my website. You can just buy the course, it's very cheap. So I spoke about how to do your proper research. When you do your research, you know exactly how to design for the client's need. Even in the course, I even spoke about how to also ask the right questions. In the course, I put samples of a brand questionnaire, the kind of questions to ask your clients. I put samples of what your brand guide should look like, what your brand presentation document should look like, just a whole lot. But I'm going to try to talk about everything so that you have an understanding of what I'm talking about.
I like it.
Okay, so am I just talking to myself? Are you guys actually enjoying this? Are you guys enjoying? So encourage me. Are you enjoying this? Should I continue?
Yes, please continue. We are enjoying this.
Okay, no problem. So I'm going to be rounding off soon. But let me just say that. So the next thing you want to do is to say to yourself that, I think I just lost my train of thought. What did I say last, guys? I was saying something.
Yeah, brand research.
We were talking about brand research.
Yes. Thank you so much. Brand research. So there's a research you have to do to really understand the client's mind. Now, there's a level of research you can do, and there's also something that has to do with meeting the clients. When you meet a client, there are questions that you're going to ask them that when they're answering you, you get all the answers you need to create your logo. You don't need to stress yourself because you're just having a conversation with them, you're asking them, you're just making them be themselves, and they're telling you everything they want. Now, when you've done that, you've gotten all the information that you need. And that way you can create something that is not far from what they are thinking. So it almost feels as if you're reading their minds. You should never create a logo that is far from what your client actually needs, what your client actually wants. Because what you do is you create the logo, and then the client will say, no, this is not working for me. And they have to do it again from the beginning. Now, someone once asked me, someone said, why should I do a 20-page document or a 10-page document to present one logo? I told the person that because it has worked for me. I put in my best in presenting logo samples to a client, because I know that if I put in the hard work and the client sees the work, they will definitely choose one. They will see that I've done a lot of work. But when you just present it to the client as a JPEG, you send it via WhatsApp, and WhatsApp reduces the quality and is now blurry, and you send it via WhatsApp. The question is, why would they not be pricing that logo to 5K? I mean, it doesn't make any sense. So you need to know how to do things professionally, how to win your clients over, how to make sure that you're designing for their needs, basically. So that is that about just branding in itself. So there's something called the brand research. You know, we talk about brand research. What kind of questions should you ask your clients? You want to ask them things like, what does the brand mean to you? You know, what do you want to do with this brand? What colors do you like? You know, you can ask them questions like, what does the name mean to you? How does the name make you feel? It might seem strange, they might seem like strange questions, but these are questions that will actually make your clients laugh. And while they are laughing, they're getting comfortable and they're telling you everything they need you to do in the easiest way possible. I don't want to talk too much because there's so much to talk about, but just ask your questions so I can actually answer them. Maybe that would be easier, because there's brand research, there's a brand questionnaire, there's a brand presentation, and there is a brand guide document. There's something called the brand guide document where you want to present your logo, and then there's something also called like, so also in my course I also talked about how to create your invoice. So when you're charging a client, the question is, can you charge the client 500K for just the logo? The question is, you want to add other things to make the entire package bulky. What do I mean? I always tell my clients that I have a brand identity package, and it contains your logo design, your brand identity guideline documents. I write about what it means so they understand. I also tell them that I also design your letterhead paper templates, your business card templates, your brand patterns, your client's assets. Yeah, basically client's assets, basically. So there's just so much to talk about, basically. So just ask your questions. Let me try to answer fast, and so I can zoom off.
Yeah, Bolanle, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. In the course of your session, people asked a couple of questions, which I want to assume you touched on. But before I go into those questions, right? You talked about what a brand is, right? A brand is people's perception about a business, a product, or even a person, an organization, right? And the things you do to shape that perception is what is known as branding, right? You talked about having a logo, having a brand collaterals. Is really not branding, right? You can have that, and the product might not work, the services might be poor, so it definitely will not save a bad product. My question is, how can one employ copywriting in terms of shaping the perception of the brand, right? Can you hear me? Can you hear me now? Okay, if you can hear me, my question is, how does copywriting play a huge role in how a brand is perceived, or how a brand can shape the perception of the audience, the customers, to the right perception they want to have of them, right? If you made mention of Nivea, right? Your perception of Nivea, is it based on their copy? Is it based on, or how the product worked that helps you shape the perception of your perception of the brand itself? Maybe you can answer that.
So the truth about it is, there's something in branding called the tone and voice of a brand. So it means that every brand in itself has a personality. A brand is like a person, and it also has a voice. Let me give you an instance. When you think about Nike, what is their voice? You can only, if Nike was a person, it's probably a tall guy or a tall lady who is always there to guide you, who is always saying you can do it, who is always trying to encourage you. Now that is their voice. So everything they say, everything they do, they always speak one language. They always, their copies, the tone of their writing, everything about them basically would always speak one language, would always portray the brand as they want people to perceive them. So yes, the copywriting and all those things actually go a long way in influencing how people feel about the brand. Everything plays, they all play their roles, but they all work together to create the right identity.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Someone also asked, what is the core difference between, maybe you can mute your mic. What is the core difference between brand identity and branding? Brand identity and branding, what's the difference between the two?
Will I really say that there is a difference? So I would say that branding in itself is, maybe I would say that branding in itself is, you can say, you're branding an organization. Brand is like maybe the process or something. But brand identity in itself is like a combination of everything: the logo, the colors, the visuals, the typography. So let's talk about identity. What is an identity? An identity is like a picture or a personality or something, something that people can actually identify you as. So brand identity, branding. So branding can be like, let's say, to me, they actually all mean the same thing. But then it's when you're not trying to break them into pieces and you're not trying to understand what they actually mean. So brand identity, you're creating an identity for a brand. Then you are branding an organization. That means you're in the process of actually bringing out, you're in the process of actually creating a brand identity for that organization. So it's just the use of words really. But the most important thing in both branding and brand identity is the word brand and is the word identity. So they kind of like all, mean the same thing. They just have like maybe just little differences, basically.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Someone's asking, what software do you advise for branding?
So for branding, in the course I taught, in my brand identity course, I actually used Photoshop and Illustrator. Now the reason why is because we all know that in branding, we need to create the logo. And I remember that when I started designing, I used to use CorelDRAW. Now, Photoshop is pixel based. I don't know if you don't understand what it means. It means that when you try to expand it, it gets pixelated. So it's pixel based basically. While Illustrator is vector based and CorelDRAW is also vector based. So it means that whatever you're creating in Illustrator and CorelDRAW, they're actually in vector formats, and vectors are scalable. You can expand them to any size. They would never lose their quality. So that's the difference. And it means that when you want to design for a client and you're trying to provide the clients with their files, with their assets and everything, you need to provide them with a vector format. So that's why you need to use both Illustrator, or you want to use CorelDRAW and then Photoshop. So you can actually use the
Thank you very much. Someone also asked, what are the components of brand identity? Is it just about logos, typography, color palettes, imagery? Are there more?
Yes, there is so much more. You need to understand that branding in itself goes way beyond just the visuals. Now, because I'm a brand identity designer, I'll be talking more about the visuals, the logo, the colors, and everything. But there's also something there are also things like strategy, your target audience, research, target audience research, and then the voice, tone and voice of the brand. There's so much more. But those aspects are not more, they're more of the research aspect of branding, getting the target audience and the strategy part of branding. But my aspect that I'm talking about right now is more of the visual aspect. So they actually all work together, but then, yeah.
Thank you very much. We have just limited minutes left. Let me just run through the other questions. You can mute your mic, please. Bolanle. Someone is saying, Bolanle, can you mute your mic, please?
Okay.
Yeah, someone asked a question. Some of the questions that you guys asked are quite related, so I'm sure she must have touched on it. The person that asked, are logos the only identity of a brand or one of the things that speak? I'm sure she has answered your question at the last time. Someone asked, can one make use of CorelDRAW? She has told you what she uses, Photoshop and Illustrator. Someone asked, can you briefly talk about developing a logo for a brand? Things like where you get inspiration from, your creativity and your design process, just in a nutshell.
Okay, so that will be the last question I'll be answering because it's actually a very, very good question. Now, one of the things I enjoy doing most about branding is having to do research. So there are two different types of research I spoke about in my course. I said the first research is the client research. Now, the client research is one of the things I do is to understand the clients. So the client will tell you, you can send a questionnaire to them. They'll tell you all the things they want you to know, but you also have to know the things that they don't want you to know. So it means that you have to do a bit of stalking. So don't go and stalk people and then they'll arrest you and you call my name. Not like bad stalking, like good stalking. So you want to go to their social media pages. You want to know more about the company. You want to know what their previous logo was like, so that if you know what their previous logo was like, you can know what the problems area. You can know the problems area. So you can tell yourself, okay, if they don't like this logo, it means I should go in another direction. So you want to know more about the client. You want to know if the client is a person and not an organization. You want to know more about the person. Check out their pages. Check out the kind of things they like, the kind of things that would get their attention. Is the person flashy? Is the person a minimalist? Is the person quiet? Is the person like loud colors? And all those other very nice things. So these things actually help me a lot because sometimes you need to know if a client likes colors or if they are minimalist. Now, if the client is a minimalist, it means that you can do a black and white logo for the person and charge any amount that they are going to pay. But if the client likes colors and you do a black and white logo, hey, you've entered this. They will say, how can I pay for this? Just black and white. What kind of thing is that? So you also need to understand the kind of clients. If they are able to think the way you want them to think, you need to understand how they think. If they are advanced in their thinking, there's some clients that when I design for, I can just do like a map. There was a client I designed for, and some of the pages I designed for, it was a website. I did the UI of a website, and some of the pages just add text on it, and just text. And my brother saw it and was like, this is very simple now, just text and white page. And I told him how much I was charging for that. And he was like, oh my God, hey, Jesus, design is like blood money, blah, 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 blah. It's not possible. How can you just put text on white? I said it's because I understand the client. This is what she appreciates. She's a very simple person. But it doesn't mean that the next client is going to accept this. The next client is going to ask for bish, bash, bush. So you need to do a bit of client research. You need to understand who the client is, what they like. You need to do, the second research you need to do is to do, there's this word I'm looking for. I don't want to forget it. Yeah, is to do, is to do a bit of research on the brand itself, on the, how do I put this now? Holy Spirit, help me with that word. I don't know, I'm forgetting a lot of things today because my mind is doing a lot of things at the same time. Beautiful. So you need to understand the field. You need to understand the industry. That's the right word, the industry. Industry research. So you need to understand what industry are you designing for. If it is a food brand, the question is, there are different types of colors that work for just food brands. Do you understand? Let me give you an instance. There was a brand I was going to design for. The brand, they are located in Canada. And they wanted me, the man runs a bakery, and he makes bread, and it's one of the biggest, he told me that he's one of the biggest he owns one of the biggest Nigerian bakeries in Canada, and they're doing really well. And so they wanted to, because he has made money, he wanted to change his nylons, he wanted to change his identity, his logo, he wanted to look like his competitors, basically, or look better than them. So what I did was to do a bit of research, understanding how to design for that field. So it means that I've never designed for a bread brand before, bread. And so I started doing research. Now, when I was doing research, I found out that when you're designing packaging design for bread, the different nylons, the color of the nylons should actually portray the kind of bread. So it means that if you're designing for wheat bread, you shouldn't use red. You should actually use like brownish gold. And there's a way you're also designing for brands, let's say a food brand in Canada. There's also a kind of research you also have to do in what is acceptable. They will tell you that whatever you're designing has to show the content of the packaging. Now, these things are so deep, and the only way you can know them is when you do research. If not, you finish everything, 20 pages, and you do it, and it is not useful for anybody. So research is very important. And don't forget, there are two different types of research you have to do: the client research and the industry research. If you want to know more about it, ask if it'll tell you how you can get my course. So you can really, really understand how these things work, and then so you can actually practice them. I think that should be all.
Bolanle, please, just one final question. I know I've taken most of the time. Just one final question, and it's very important. Just one, right? It's very important. That's why I will have stopped there. Someone said, in light of the current realities, right, current events in the world, right, branding will likely play a very big role in the coming years. How can a designer stay relevant in terms of adding value to a client? Also, what personal development do you advise a brand designer to undergo to be able to capture accurately a client's brand value, a client or a brand's value, their mission, their target into visual elements? I don't know if you got a question. Thank you.
So that is actually like, people are trying to scam me. You said one question, and your question is actually backing children. It's backing a baby and it's holding triplets. That is not fair. I have like just 2 minutes to go. So I'll try to answer in the best way possible. So I'll say that, let me just answer the aspect that talks about developing yourself as a designer. I'll say that the first thing first is, when you see design, I want you to forget about all the things that you know about design and start thinking about how to create solutions. Now, think about how to really understand your clients and how to make them feel comfortable. What do I mean? It means that when I'm talking to my clients, sometimes it goes way beyond design. We talk about their target audience. We talk about what would actually work for their target audience. We talk about how to express, how to best depict their brand. I don't know how to explain this properly, but basically, take your mind beyond Photoshop. When you meet your client next time, forget about Photoshop for a few minutes and think about the client. Think about what makes them, why you're feeling the way they're feeling, what they're trying to achieve, and how you can actually make them achieve it. Now, Chris Doe said something that it is more valuable for a designer. He said it in a different way. I can't really remember how he said it, but I'll try to explain it. He said a designer will get paid more or will be giving a client more value when you solve their problems rather than just designing. So don't just design to create a fine design. Design to actually solve a problem. Be interested in their growth. Be interested in what. So it means, I always tell my clients that if I design a logo for you, a brand for you, I'm interested in seeing you sell. So I will check their pages, see how people are actually reacting to their pages and reacting to the logo, their identity, because I'm interested. So when you show your client that you are actually interested in their success and the things they are actually, you show empathy basically, it will go a long way. It's more valuable than money. What will happen is, as they grow as a brand, they will always remember you. They'll always remember you, I remember that I once designed a coconut oil bottle for somebody. It was a small brand, and I designed a packaging design for her, and it was really nice. And we built a relationship. I built a relationship with the lady. And so what happened was, she put a product on our table, and a particular politician who was running for a particular, I don't want to give too much details about the person, but a particular politician got into the place. I don't know how they got to know each other, but he saw the product, and it was Guys, so everything I've been saying, I've been muted all along.
No. We heard you until you were muted. We heard you all through. We heard you all through. We heard you.
I don't know. I'm going to start again. So, so the client saw the product and he was like, I need to work with this person. And so they contacted me and I started working with him. And so I worked with him. I worked on his identity for his campaign, and he won the election. And since then, the relationship has been there. So both the first person that introduced me to him and himself, it was just such a beautiful experience. So imagine if I was all about the money and I said, oh, I designed this thing for you. That's all. I don't follow the progress. Now, how do you follow the progress? You ask questions. Okay, you tell them things like, what I've designed for you is, I've designed a, you can say, I've designed this banner for you. It's going to fit into this size. Make sure that it is not compressed. Make sure that it is looking good. What kind of screen are you going to be using it on? Sir, what would you be needing? Those kind of things. Be interested in their progress. The moment he won, he actually called me and said, Bolanle, we won. And to be sincere, I was so happy because it felt like all the hard work, all the poster design, all the campaign design was worth it. Do you understand? And that was everything started from a bottle of coconut oil that you saw. I don't know the person from anywhere. I don't know anybody in the restaurant or anything. Do you understand? It simply means that your designs can take you anywhere. Just keep putting yourself out there and keep doing your best. Put in your best. I don't want to try to sugarcoat things and make you feel like as if when you start designing today, you start getting rock deals. It takes a while. I've been designing for close to 10 years, but it doesn't mean that it will take you 10 years. It could take you 2 years. It could take you a year. I'm not one of those people who will tell you that because it took me 10 years, it will take you longer. No. If you put in the work, it took me longer because when I started designing, I didn't go to design school. I didn't know who to talk to. I didn't have the knowledge I have today. I went through the pain of learning everything by myself. And that is why I currently teach design, to make people, to shorten the process, to make sure that you don't have to go through the pain that I went through, to know exactly what you need to know, basically. And so I would just like to end by saying that put in your best. Everything you do your best. And if you are still charging 10K, 20K, 5K, 1K, do not despise the days of little beginnings. I started that way. I started designing, collecting those little amounts. And even right now, what I'm charging currently, I'm still not satisfied. I want to charge more. So you will never get to a point where you're satisfied. Even Chris don't want to charge more. Chris is always talking about how to charge more and more and more. Human needs are insatiable. You can never, it's just insatiable, basically. You'd always want to charge more. So basically, appreciate where you are right now. As much as you're focusing on making the money, focus on building yourself. When you're truly good at what you do, see, a man's gift will take him places. It will take you to places that you've never been before. It will make you stand in front of kings, and I really mean it. So do the sleepless nights if you have to. Rest, but do the sleepless nights. You need it. Stay up if you have to sometimes. Put in the work. When your client is asking for 1 page, give them 5 pages. Put in the work. Keep doing your best. Eventually, your work will speak for you. And apart from that, you're doing a lot of hard work would also build capacity in you, and you'll be able to do much more. You understand? And if you're working for an agency, it is absolutely fine. I worked for 6 years plus for agencies. I was doing a 9 to 5 before I resigned. So I wouldn't just say leave your 9 to 5 or go through your process. Everybody has their own part in life. Go through your part. Make sure you're doing it for yourself. Do your best for yourself, and just go through your part. And eventually, we are all going to be fine. Last.
Wow, Bolanle, be calming down. Please be calming down. Be calming down. Wow. I beg for 2 minutes. You went almost 5-6 minutes. Thank you very much. I can see the passion, and I'm sure everyone who joined this session, no matter how short it was, I'm sure they got value for it. Bolanle, I can't thank you enough for taking time out of your busy schedule to do this with us. Guys, if you're not following Bolanle, please follow her on Instagram at Bolanle_Banwo, on Twitter at Bolanle Banwo. You can also follow, and you should, not you can, you should also follow at Geneza Brands on Instagram, at Geneza Training on Instagram. I've also put the link where you can see our courses. It's genezaschoolofdesign.com. right? genezaschoolofdesign.com. Thank you very much, guys. Bolanle, thank you very much. I really appreciate your time. God bless you and prosper you in every way. Thank you very much. So guys, those of you who joined in late, the session was recorded. It will be on our YouTube channel. If you're not subscribed to it, please go on YouTube, search for Designers Discourse and subscribe to the channel so you can catch the last webinar and also this webinar. If you can't do that, go to the link in our bio on Instagram and follow the procedure. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Bolanle, thank you very much. Thank you very much. It's good to see your face. Thank you very, very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, guys. I'm grateful. And Ife, I really appreciate you. I'm not saying this because I'm just trying to be like those guest ministers or guest speakers. I like to say the same thing like a cliche. No, I actually really mean it. I'm really grateful for the chance to speak on your platform, and I really appreciate you as a person. I mean, you're always doing so much for people. You're always there trying to help people. I really appreciate you. Well done, and thank you for doing this. God bless you. And then, so if you look at my name, Bolanle Banwo. So if you want to check my Instagram page, just put underscore between my name.
Bolanle, God bless you too.
Bolanle underscore. If you want to check my Instagram page, just. Yeah. Bye, guys. Bye, Fa.
Bye, man.
Okay.
Bye, Bolanle. Okay. So, guys, I'm sure you had an amazing time. I'm sure you learned one or two things from this session. So please, if you just joined in, I would appreciate that you take time out to check our YouTube day and tomorrow, right? Or yeah, between today and tomorrow, it should be on the YouTube channel. Subscribe to the channel. Those of you who are not following us on any of our platforms, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, please, as much as possible, just follow us on any platform. We need your support. We want to see many designers interact with each other. We've been having episodes on a weekly basis, right? And there are questions that we ask that designers should be able to speak to, right? Designers should be able to speak on. And so if you see the question and you feel it doesn't concern me, right, you won't be doing yourself any good. The questions are asked to be able to spark thinking in you, to be able to spark your ability to think, right? If questions are asked, go and research on that topic, right? And let your voice be heard. Speak to that issue that has been discussed. This last week we talked about design ethics, right? And surprisingly, only two people. Thank you, Mr. Osef Ferme at TV. I hope I got your name right. Thank you for sharing the link. Only two people engaged with that post, and we're like, design ethics for that matter. Is it that people are not bothered about it, or is it that people just feel that I'm all about making money, right? But we need to understand that for the profession to be seen as reputable, certain ethics and guidelines need to guide how we carry out our practice, our business, communicate, and all that. So please, if you are not following us, please follow us. If you are following us, please turn on post notifications so that when we put out any post, you are able to engage with that post. Someone has helped with the link to the YouTube channel, Okolo Faith. Just scroll up, you'll see the link put there by Mr. Ative. Thank you very much, Mr. Ative. He's also someone who is doing amazingly well in building designers bringing them up, young designers in the industry. I really appreciate you. If I'm not mistaken, you run an initiative called Creative Ferry. Amazing work you're doing. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. One man cannot make a forest. In the little we are doing in our different spaces, we will continue to do it until the industry is at the level where it will be. On this note, I want to end the recording officially, but beyond that, I'm open to have conversation with anybody. Let me end the recording. And if you have any question, the last time we did, I also need to